Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Bonafide Investing, where we talk all things high yield investing, futures, options, investment goals, investment ideas. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Basically, what I've done was I've taken about 20% of my net worth. I have put it into a high yield, all weather portfolio that I call Cash Flow Life. After almost 2 years of just buying and selling and strategizing and back testing and everything else. And the goal of this account is to, number one, pay all my bills. Number two, maintain and pay down my margin. Please hit like and subscribe. Please help support the channel if you like what we're doing here. Everything we discuss is not investment advice, not now, not ever. So please do your own due diligence before making any investment decisions. What I want to talk about today, I want to talk about Bitcoin. I want to talk about my thoughts on it, my views on it, my opinions on it, and then how do I use it or not use it in Cash Flow Life? Okay, so I shared in a prior video, I think it was a week ago roughly, there was an article that it was a headline that had a picture of the Bitcoin logo. And the headline, the caption said shitcoin. When I see headlines like that, that makes me believe the bottom is probably in or near. There's just been so much bearish sentiment, so much negativity on Bitcoin that, yeah, I think we could be near a bottom here. So one thing I want to first get out of the way is it digital gold? To me, no, it's not digital gold. At the end of the day, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Gold's the only asset. There's no counterparty risk, right? If you hold it, you own it. It's physical. It's God's money. It's in your hand. However, I think there's some potential for Bitcoin. And I personally believe that Bitcoin could be something really good, possibly great in the future, but we shall see. I don't know. I had just made a video on gold. And, you guys know gold is my favorite asset, hands down, not even close. But I don't think just because I like it, that should be the only thing I own, right? And gold's insurance at the end of the day. And I don't like to combine insurance and investing, except when I can do it in the high yield ETF space, right? Where I can get paid to get gold exposure to help diversify this account here, right? I don't know if you guys have ever been to a coin shop. I'm a coin shop junkie. I got to get my fix, right? I go to coin shows. I love it. But it's a pain in the ass to sell bullion or coins. Buy and sell, sometimes it's a pain in the butt. You got to drive there. You got to get a price. You got to agree on a price. You're really never going to get market price. And when you buy it, you're going to never get market price there either. And you're going to lose usually on both ways, right? But you still own it. What's nice about Cash Flow Life, I can just click a button. What's nice about Bitcoin, I can click a button, buy or sell, happens instantly. And you can even send and receive Bitcoin, right? So you can kind of transact with others that way. I like that feature. The obvious risks are if the internet goes down, the power goes out, your Bitcoin's worthless during that time, right? I mean, in essence, what can you really do? I know there's ways to store it. I know there's ways to keep it, out of the system. But talking about the system, remember, anything Wall Street touches usually goes to crap pretty fast. And I think with the leverage from BlackRock and all these ETFs coming online, there's a lot of synthetic Bitcoin. There's a lot of things that are, maybe saying they own Bitcoin, but who knows if they own it in that amount, right? So I think that anything Wall Street touches eventually turns down. I think gold and silver probably won't ever have true price discovery until the paper market either collapses or is modified to track the actual physical metal. But at the end of the day, those are my thoughts on it. I think Bitcoin, though, if there is a market, if people do really want to transact, I think it become the people's money, right? Where gold is God's money, Bitcoin could become the people's money, right? But I think the biggest hurdle, governments hate competition, right? They don't like it. So if Bitcoin suddenly starts replacing US dollars, I think government's going to whip out its unlimited powers, and it's going to tax the hell out of Bitcoin. And I think it could also, make Bitcoin, it could go so far as making Bitcoin illegal if it wanted, right? I've got a good friend. I've had some good conversations with him. We've talked about Bitcoin. He asked me the other day, hey, your cash flow life seems low on Bitcoin. And it currently is. I sold YBTC a couple weeks ago when Bitcoin was trading right around that low 80,000 mark. It fell down as low as around 60,000. It's rallied back to about 70,000. I think today it is up pretty good. It got a good bounce today. It's up a little over 4% today. The markets are up too. And my concern though right now is Bitcoin is not trading like a risk hedge. It's trading like the indices, meaning it's following the NASDAQ generally, right? So if the NASDAQ's falling, Bitcoin's been falling up. What I found interesting was gold and silver got smashed, then Bitcoin got smashed. I thought the markets here were going to get smashed. I don't know. There's another theory out there that in terms of gold and Bitcoin, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are not expensive. So there's always that argument where, hey, maybe Liberation Day was the bottom for the next 2, 3, 4 years. I don't know, right? But again, I think we're overdue for a big market fall here. And my one concern with Bitcoin is we haven't really seen what it does in a severe market correction or crash. The way it's behaved so far leads me to believe that it's going to tank with the rest of the market. And who knows? It could go up. I don't know. But again, I think if any of the crypto space stands a chance in the future, I think Bitcoin's the only coin. Maybe Ethereum. I don't know. But I think Bitcoin's the only coin with any potential in the future. Here's the other side for all the people touting 1 million that I'm careful of the more I've looked into it. But Bitcoin to 1 million, there's only so much money and leverage and liquidity that's sloshing around the system. And the market cap on Bitcoin at $1 million is just so high. It would overtake or be on par with the markets, gold and silver, the equity markets. And I don't know. I don't really see that becoming possible. And who knows? I don't know. Did Bitcoin top all time at 125, 130,000, whatever it was? Maybe, maybe not. We've seen 50, 60, 70% corrections in Bitcoin multiple times in the past. I think we might be going through another one. I think Bitcoin is still going lower short term. I do. I think it could still go as low as, I don't know, $30, $35, $40,000, maybe. That would take us back to about a 70% retracement from the all-time high. That's kind of where I get those numbers is when Bitcoin's really dumped, it's dumped about 70%. Doesn't mean it will this time. Doesn't mean it will in the future. Again, just going off kind of what it's done before. But yeah, I think Bitcoin could be a very promising currency alternative to what we have now in the future. But remember, the market has to demand it. The people have to demand it. If there's no market for it, if there's no demand for it, supply and demand always wins in the long term. So we shall see. But what I might do, Bitcoin's bouncing back to right around that $70,000 level. And who knows, maybe it doesn't come down from here ever again. That's a possibility. But I'd like to be a buyer if we can see it fall down below 60,000. I'll be buying quite a bit of either YBIT or YBTC. If we see Bitcoin fall to that $40,000, $50,000 range, somewhere down there, I'll definitely add more to Cash for Life again. I still get a little bit of crypto exposure through, again, the NASDAQ has companies who have high Bitcoin exposure. My high yielders, sometimes they'll hold them. Selling KYLD and YMAX this week did drop my crypto exposure. I sold WPay a couple of weeks ago. That reduced some crypto exposure as well. But at the end of the day, I'm okay with it. I think I still, all in all, probably have about 0.5%, maybe 0.25% in crypto or crypto related, right? Through just ETFs, high yield ETFs here. I did own Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP up until right around October, November. I sold out of the physical coin. I wanted to use that cash. I put those profits into Cash for Life, but I was buying Bitcoin down around $16,000, $17,000 when I started. I put a big chunk in back then. And I sold the majority of it when it was up around the $90,000 to $92,000 level. Back in the fall, I want to say late fall, early winter. So But yeah, I think it's still going to go down. I really do, because I think stock markets are headed down. I've been a firm believer in that. Today, another, it looks very similar to last week when we had bad Thursdays consecutively, good Fridays consecutively. I'm not buying the prints on the job numbers or the CPI. So I think markets are going to wake up to this realization at some point that you can only fake this for so long. But again, no, I do not think Bitcoin's gold. I think Bitcoin has a potentially promising future as long as the markets keep demanding it. People want it. And it is a good alternative to what we currently have now. But other than that, let's see. Let's see if it finds maybe some stability, right? It's been a good trade for a lot of traders because it's been so volatile. It's one of the most volatile assets, if not the most volatile over the past 5 years. So let's see. Let's see what it does. Those are some of my thoughts around Bitcoin. Love to hear what you're doing. Love to hear your comments. But yeah, my high yield ETFs I generally use are YBIT, YBIT, and YBTC. I have a little bit more of a preference toward YBTC. However, the way they're structured, YBIT, YBIT, I think has a slightly better downside hedge and a higher yield. But YBTC will capture a little bit more growth on the upside, which is kind of the trade-off between the two, at least what I've seen so far. I've told you guys in the past, I'm not one of those investors who loses sleep over 0.5%. There's some good videos on here on YouTube where people analyze every single ETF in the same exact space to show you how the 0.11% performance better makes that ETF better. I don't know. Good for them. It's good. I'm glad people do that. But at the end of the day, I built this portfolio so I can do things that I enjoy, not examine every single thing at all times where I lose sleep over it. I worry if I'm in the wrong ETF, things like that. And you know what? Better ETFs are going to come along. Keep that in mind. There's some, really cool ones coming, especially with Neos. We'll talk about that in future videos, but there's always better ETFs coming. Yeah, you definitely want to do your due diligence, research them, see how they're structured, how they generate high yield, the risks and rewards, associated with that. But at the end of the day, YBIT and YBTC, I think for the Bitcoin space are good. If you like Ethereum, there's YETH, YETH. I've owned that in the past. And there is YET, I think it's ETI or YEHI, I can't remember, by Neos. Those are good ones as well if you think Ethereum might get a bounce. But again, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please hit like and subscribe. Please help support the channel. Hope you got something from today. Have a good day.